Listen only to the sound of my voice. Let your mind relax. Let your thoughts drift. Imagine yourself in a frozen forest.
Hello there, Sorry from 17 once again. As you saw just then, the swarm does not affect the robots, so it's not worth using, but the old palm of justice does. This is my Black Ops 3 realistic walkthrough. This is the second part of Lotus Tower, and we are moving towards the boss fight against Taylor. And I really do like this mission, and I do think the boss is okay, because it only sends enemies at you as part of a wave in between the boss, which is what bosses have done since the beginning of time. So I don't really mind that convention makes itself known here. And for the most, this mission starts getting really crazy with the DNI going nuts, changing and altering your perception of the world, which is cool. And then the next mission just goes batshit crazy, which I think the game could have done with the entire time, because I think it's a really interesting direction for COD, because COD generally is pretty self-serious at times. You know, it's somebody's about to die, someone's dying, or someone's dead. That's the stages of the Call of Duty campaign. So just the craziness is really interesting, and I'm glad that it's here. It's very welcome. But Taylor is pretty tough, because he fires rockets that destroy most of the cover in the environment, and the splash of the rocket is kind of annoying. Like, you can be behind some pretty good cover and still die. And there are moments where you really feel like you shouldn't have, but you did. And I felt it, guys, you'll feel it. But you need to bear in mind think logically about how it works, from an engineering perspective. He fires a missile, the missile explodes. On the moment and the frame that it explodes, it has a cloud of influence. You know, it has a heat map of where it will damage, and the damage variable inside of that heat map will be at its most extreme in the middle, and it will teeter out gradually over the amount of time it lingers. If you can put something between you and the full cloud of that heat map, you will not take any of that damage, and you can't take any of that damage because on this difficulty you die very quickly. So you just need to find whatever you can to put between you and that ship that gives you enough wiggle room to avoid that splash. And once you do that, you need a little bit of luck to consistently position yourself in a zone where you won't get bummed. Once you do that, you've won. Because all you have to do is survive the wraps, and you have to put damage on him. And the game wants you to use a machine gun, a chain gun, but on this difficulty, it's so unrealistic to keep getting it and reloading it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the chain gun for the first part, and then when I run out of ammo, I'm going to shoot it with my normal gun. And it might sound like a pretty bad investment, but it works. And I don't have to put myself out of my good position. And as long as I'm in a good position, as long as I'm using my gun, I can win. If you're wondering what I was trying to do then, I was trying to do what you can do in Mirror's Edge, where you run up one wall, jump onto the next wall, jump onto the next wall. A little bit what you can do in Prince of Persia, where you keep going around the walls and keep going round. There was another game that you could do that in, and I'm forgetting what it is. Ninja Gaiden. In Ninja Gaiden, where you do the wall run and you jump around the square rooms, like that. It wasn't having any of it though, because it's autonomous, and if it doesn't do it, you're doing it wrong, or you're in an area where the detection's not working as well. But I think I was just not doing it right in an area that's probably not designed for it. But on this sequence, there's a lot of kamikaze melee robots that are going to be running at you, so you want to try your best to push forward intelligently, but not too aggressively, and keep you cool. It looks like everything's blowing up, it looks like the world is ending, but it's not. It is a very theatrical way of saying, this is hectic, this is crazy, but it's really not. You know, this is just a game, just keep taking it slow and you'll be fine. So I saw an interesting video on YouTube yesterday, which was The Big Bang Theory without the laughter track. Which I thought was really fascinating that somebody's done this, and the guy's gone in and edited out the laughter. Which is probably quite time consuming, because every fucking sentence that they say on that show there's a bloody laughter track. Please guys, it's funny all the time, here you go, empathise, empathise. Here's that mirror neuron reaction. And I don't like Big Bang Theory, I never have. I've given it a chance because my girlfriend and her family watch it all the time, and when I'm at her house I'm at the mercy of what they want to do, which is generally watch that piece of shit show. So I'm sat there watching this show, I average about one laugh an episode, and it's generally about something really eclectic that I like. But for the most, I've always felt that is a show that is essentially mocking the culture that it's supposed to be representing, because the culture that's inside of it was not popular. It was ostracized. You were made a pariah for liking that type of stuff, but now it's cool to like that type of stuff, so all the people who previously hated on the people who liked that kind of stuff now like that kind of stuff, and it's just flipped on its head. It's very contradictory, it's very hypocritical, and I just don't think it's a very good show. But other people do, and that's fine. You know, I love all kinds of shows that people don't like, and who knows, in a year's time I might fall in love with it, but I don't imagine this happening because I've watched a lot of it, and it's just one of those shows that it's never clicked with me. I never found it to be too funny. And there's this video on YouTube without the laughter track. It's a completely different show for some people. It's really interesting to see, because if you don't know, guys, the reason laughter tracks are put on shows is to make you laugh. It's to give you a clue as when to laugh. Some people, believe it or not, need permission/incentive to know when to laugh. Those are the people that aren't really in sync with the harmony of reality or comedy. And not confident with their own character either, because it shouldn't be, here is when you laugh, here's a diagram of it. It should be when it makes you laugh. And you shouldn't ever be afraid to laugh unless you're in a situation where it gets you in trouble, like I was several times in school. But I still laughed, and I still got in trouble, you know? It's just the way that the world works. But this show without that track, way different. And I'm watching it and I'm like, this is practically the same experience for me, because I laughed at the same joke. And I didn't laugh at all the other ones. But there's all these people in the comments like, I laugh on this episode normally, why aren't I laughing? And it's that realization that the laughter track exists to get you laughing when the joke isn't enough. And that's how it works. And some shows do it well. Some shows I think the laughter track adds to. A lot of shows I think it really detracts. And it's one of those weird things where to laughter track or not to laughter track. And one of the best examples for me of a laughter track is Only Fools and Horses, which I don't know how universal this show is, and I don't know how universal the humour of it is, but I think it is one of the greatest comedies ever conceived because it's consistently good. All 9 or so series, I can't remember how many seasons there are, all of it's great. The specials are great, the episodes are great. This is a show that I used to watch on repeat. I've got it on my hard drive, I've got all the seasons, and I would just go through it back to back watching episodes. And I spent days doing this because I worshipped it. I knew every word of every episode for a very long time. And I've actually not watched it intentionally for a while so I can forget that and enjoy it again because I worship it so much. But it has a laughter track. And normally, I really don't like comedies with laughter tracks. And it comes to this moment where I look at myself as, am I selectively picking what is good and what is not good here, even though they're all adhering to a similar standard? Because some of the American comedies that I like, and I'm not one of those people that says, you know, American comedies aren't funny. There's a lot of people that say that. There's a lot of people that say, like, English or British comedies aren't funny, or insert place aren't funny. You know, I've heard a lot of American comedians say that English comedians aren't funny, which is one of those weird things where a lot of comedy is observational, and if you don't live in the culture that it's being observed from, how are you going to find the joke funny if you don't know what it is? It's this weird thing of, comedy is incredibly subjective, and not only is it subjective, but it's topical. And if you're not part of that topic, you're not going to get it. And if you don't get comedy, it's one of the worst things ever. One of the worst experiences you can have in this world, outside of pain and fear and debt and all that kind of crazy shit. One of the most superfluous fears, or superfluous experiences, is to watch something that is meant to be funny that you do not find funny. Because it's a miserable experience, because everybody around you seems to be getting something you're not getting. And it's a very strange place to be. So, this is the boss anyhow, so I'm going to have to derail that tangent. I do apologise, I was rather enjoying it. This is the boss. So I need to get a minigun here. The mobile armories are these 2 buildings that appear in the middle of the map, and we need to get to it. The machine gun that this boss shoots you with kills you in 2 bullets. So if you take 1 hit, you can't take another until you regen. This air conditioning unit that I'm stood behind now cannot be destroyed. The roofs will be destroyed, the buildings will be destroyed, but whatever this thing here is, it takes rockets, and if you stand behind it correctly, you will not be killed by them. And that's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to shoot the engines until there is no longer a reticle on them, which means they're destroyed. Once you kill 2 engines, he's going to fly away, he's going to summon Raps, and then he's going to come back and we're going to kill him. So you want to use this as an opportunity to refill your minigun, and then you want to get back over to where we were. So there's a lot of environmental fire here, but I don't believe it's going to give you any issue. What will give you issue is the little rolling critter balls of doom. So look out for them, because they're coming. And you can hear them, but they're very sneaky. So there's one. There's no checkpoint, by the way, guys, either. When you die, you're at the beginning of the fight, so you have to do all 4 engines on 1 life. It's pretty rough, but once you find this spot, it's not too bad. So now he's coming back. All you have to do is kill the engines. So get behind the air conditioning unit and start shooting his engines. And when the missile comes, you want to back up ever so slightly, and you want to be crouched. And you should survive. But you'll notice he's not even shooting now because we've got him in this wonderful pattern, and as soon as we destroy this, I run out of bullets, so I'm going to swap to my gun. I'm not going to go and get ammo, and we've done. We've just got rid of all the engines. I'm kind of like end fight, checkpoint, shit, stop shooting me, and there's the cutscene. So it looked easy, didn't it? But it's not, guys. I died a few times getting that run, but just get to a piece of cover that you have confidence in. That fight is all about confidence and positioning. Once you've got it, you will win. Thank you for watching. You take care now.